Hi, and thank you for listening. This is Sherry Andrea, and you can find me at sherryspeaks.com, where you can find 80 plus attunements starting at $2.50. Don't let the price fool you. They are very effective attunements, so don't let that price fool you. If you're looking for more of hands-on teaching when it comes to Reiki and the attunements, I always do recommend going to somebody who specializes in that. My thing is offering resources. And I just wanted to explain that. I am more into offering you resources, a way to get what you need in an affordable way, because not everybody has the money to pay a lot of money for attunements, to pay $50 for an attunement. Now, just because you paid $2.50 and somebody else paid $50, this does not mean that you're not as dedicated as the person that paid $50, because often the people who are finding it free are paying only $2.50. Sometimes they're putting more work into their development than the person that paid $50. So the price doesn't really dictate what you're going to do with it. I leave that up to you. You will get somewhere and you'll advance if you put the work in. If you don't, you won't. But that doesn't mean that for that reason I have to price gouge you. You know what I mean? I don't have to do that. You're either going to do the work or you're not, regardless. So also at the website you can find a certificate creator that I developed, and it makes beautiful certificates. You put in all your information, it spits out that certificate. You don't have to wait, and it is, a beautiful in color certificate in PDF form that it gives you, and it's only $1.75. So whether it's for you, or if you're a Reiki master and you want to create a beautiful certificate for your students, there you go. Okay, there are other services and things, but I'll let you explore the website and all the information on there yourself. Let's get to it. First of all, this video is it's about it's time for everybody to wake up. Not just, and I'm not just talking spiritually, metaphysically. This isn't just for people who are working on spiritual advancement or metaphysical development. This is geared towards everyone. It is seriously time to wake up. We have so much going on in the world right now, it's not even funny. And that's what this video is about. Let's talk about some of those things. And I would love to hear your comments on them. Remember, if you make a comment, keep it positive. If it's overly negative, if it's hateful, if it's, negative in any way that was not called for, I will reserve the right to delete it. So I'd love to hear your opinion. Feel free to give your opinion even if you disagree with me, but there's a nice way and a mean way to say everything. You can always choose the nice way. Show what type of person you are. Show that you're a decent person. Okay, so anyway, there's so much going on in the world right now, and I'm going to hit on some different things. First of all, what had me thinking about this was the news. The news, whether it's like online in print, or whether it's like you're watching it on television, the news has been a terrible thing for humanity for such a long time. I could probably even say since the time television came out, because I'm sure that even before television, when it was radio and we were just listening to it, I'm sure we were being manipulated back then too. I'm sure that what was being put out to us, news, there was entertainment on radio. Remember, there were those, there was radio theater. I'm sure we were being manipulated in all different kinds of ways, even back then, even before television. But the development of television stepped all that up. because then it wasn't just what we were being told, it was what we were being shown. Great example of it is right now you can't scroll through any type of news or watch news on television without being shown tons of people wearing face masks. Okay, to you that may make sense because there is this corona virus, and I think it's just interesting that they named it the corona virus. They named it something that wouldn't be foreign to us. Pretty much, except for children, pretty much everybody has heard of corona. My son's only 15. He probably thought the same thing. I mean, I've on occasion bought Corona beer. I'll have a beer occasionally. You know how that is. Occasionally, you have a taste for a beer, and usually, what I buy is Corona and Coors Light, or Coors Light, because I like a beer that's not too heavy. Anyway, I don't drink anymore, but I'm just talking about when I used to, and even now, if I wanted to, that's what if I felt like drinking and I wanted a beer, that's probably what I would buy, either Corona or Coors Light. But think about it. The minute I saw the name of this virus, I kind of thought, that's interesting. They named it the Corona virus. What the hell? I'm sorry, excuse me. But that's what I thought. I thought, that's interesting that they named it that. Here's the thing. I'm not doubting that the virus exists. I'm not doubting that. My first thought was, I think it's quite possible it does exist. But I also thought, with the thought that immediately came to my mind, and I think this was my higher self, it just popped in my head. Yep, man-made. Now, I know they've explained where the virus came from. As far as the location, this market in China, they've explained why, that the market was selling, not only like normal things you'd find in a market, but they immediately put out there, before they even explained it, days before they actually got into the detailed explanation, they immediately put out there that this market was selling things like bats, rats, various wild animals, along with what I guess in the United States we consider to be normal meats. Normal to us anyway. And okay, then a few days later, they came out with a more detailed explanation, explaining that this virus transferred from animal to human. Then a few days later, they started talking about this snake, how it transferred from the snake to the bat or the rat, and then to humans. And then, I was thinking, okay, so what they're trying to say is that this virus existed for a while among animals, and this market and probably other markets had been selling stuff like they were selling, and then just mysteriously, for some reason, it all of a sudden transferred from animal to human. Now that they never explained. There were certain things that they never said, that they didn't talk about. And I got some common sense, and you all probably got pretty good common sense too. One of the things I first thought is, they're making it sound like this virus existed among various animals and was being passed among various animals, and these meats were being sold, these wild animals will be being sold at markets, but for some reason, all of a sudden, it transferred from animal to human. Well, of course, I'm thinking, but okay, why didn't that happen before? And some of you may say, well, there's evolution in everything. How things change. The flu virus this year is going to be different next year, and it's going to keep morphing and doing this and changing. Okay, I can kind of buy that, but still, there's something that screams at me. No, don't just brush this off and say, oh, well, things migrate, things change, oh, well. You know what I mean? Don't just do that. And, I was thinking this morning, you're being inundated right now with pictures and images, like tons of people wearing face masks. Then you're being told that in Texas, this was a week or two ago, in Texas, where some college student was being tested for the virus, and I'm not sure if it turned out that he ended up having the virus or not, but all of a sudden in this city, I guess in Texas, they started selling out a face mask, while at the same time being reported at the same time were doctors and health officials saying the face mask does not offer any protection against it. But still, we're being shown tons of pictures of these people wearing face masks. Why? Because one of the worst things for us awakening is to be in fear mode, to be in this negative state. But this is what it's supposed to do to you. It's supposed to keep thoughts of that there is this virus out there in your mind. It's supposed to keep that in the forefront of your mind and keep you in that fear mode of, oh no, I might be next. Oh no, what about my children? Oh no, what about this? Oh no, what if I go somewhere? I can't protect myself. What if I go to the grocery store? Who knows if the cashier has it and she's just not displaying symptoms at the time. It's meant to keep us in fear mode. This is what they can do. This is how they can manipulate us. And now, today, it's being reported that there is some natural Chinese remedy that they're saying may inhibit this virus. So now, in certain areas of China, people are running out, and they were lined up at night, I guess, a whole bunch of people to buy this remedy, even ignoring what was being recommended to them, which was don't congregate in large groups because of the potential spread of this, that the virus could spread among those people. But they were ignoring that to run out for a potential cure. And it was even said in the article, who knows? Possibly, maybe this comes right before the China stock market was supposed to open back up to affect the price. But there's manipulation. There's always manipulation going on. One of the biggest things that we're dealing with right now, whether you want to believe it or not, weather manipulation. Okay, I'm gonna say this right now, you guys. Even if you're not going to start watching this right away, please go to YouTube, search for Mike Morales. It's Mike and Morales Morales. He does weather reports, which is basically related to, he does more than just weather. But basically that's one of the biggest things that he does. He's really good at it because he researches. He researches and he brings it to you, but he also suggests that you research. But then he also suggests, he takes it a step further and says, look, none of this stuff is going to stop unless we do something about it, unless we stop it. Unless we stop letting them do this. And I watched his report the other day, and I was just floored. A lot of the stuff that he talks about, I already know. I know about the weather modification and manipulation, but I've been knowing about that. I remember, I want to say it was probably more than 15 years. It was definitely more than 15 years ago when I was trying to talk to my father about it. And I remember, like, his attitude about it was that he didn't believe it. And I was talking about, harp and this and that. And back then, basically, when people talked about such things, it was considered conspiracy theory back then. And I was talking about it, and I was telling him, I was like, no, this is real. They can manipulate weather. And of course, I must have looked crazy, sounded crazy back then. Because I sounded just like any other conspiracy theorist. I probably sounded just like the person that's trying to say, yeah, UFOs exist. Yeah, I probably sounded like that to him. But guess what? That department falls under the Department of Agriculture, and they are not trying to hide it. On one of the last Mike Morales show I watched, which I want to say was day before yesterday. Today is February 1st. That would have been day before yesterday. So the one that he did on the 30th, I think. He actually showed a clip of a governmental meeting. This is a real government meeting. And within the clip he showed, one of the gentlemen that was there said what his title was and the departments that he worked under in the U.S. government that fell under, the last thing he said, that it fell under the Department of Agriculture. So this is real. He was being, I don't know, it was almost like in this clip, the one man was speaking and talking about the fires in Australia and how bad it was. And basically, it sounded more like he was questioning the other man, the man that explained what his role in the department he fell under was. And it was like the guy was talking as though he was trying to hold him accountable for something. But here's the gist of what the man was talking about. He was talking about the trees and how basically it was like him saying, okay, you sold us on these trees. You told us these trees. And mind you, they're not talking about real trees. They're not talking about trees, real trees that are planted from seed and grow, real natural trees. They're talking about fake trees. And he was saying how he was like, yeah, you told us that these trees emitted a certain oil into the air, and it turned out that it caused it to be super flammable. And he was like literally in detail explaining what happened when these trees caught on fire, and explaining that because they were emitting this oil into the air, that the fire, these trees, he literally said this, these trees were literally exploding and also igniting the oil that was in the air, which was causing it to jump so easily from tree to tree and spread. He basically, Mike Morales let the clip play for, I want to say, a couple of minutes, and in that couple of minutes, he basically explained what happened in Australia and why it was so bad. And I'm like, oh my gosh, they caused that. They did that. They knew what would happen. Fake trees. Now, I've heard other YouTubers like Spiritual So, which is also goes by the name #Gazer, because he's a sun gazer. He does sun gazing. I've heard him talk about it. He does a lot of his videos while he's walking outside, and I've heard him as he's walking along say, oh, look at this fake tree. And I've heard him say that. For the longest time, I've been hearing him say that, and I was like, fake tree? What's he talking about? Once I heard the government officials talking about these fake trees, that's when it clicked, and I went, oh, that's what he was talking about, these fake trees. These trees are in the United States. They're not just in Australia. Those trees are also in the United States. Okay, then Mike Morales went on to explain the how our electric companies tie in to all of this, the weather modification. Now, when Mike Morales does his weather reports, this is the awesome thing. He's using real weather maps where he's adjusting them. So, just like they do on the news, on TV, they can show you that weather map and where these clouds are, and they can adjust the weather map to be able to show you cloud cover in a certain way, like they're trying to show you, or they can adjust the weather map to maybe just show you the rain or just show you this, or so he's really good. This takes some skill too. He's really good at adjusting the weather map, and he's not using a real weather, he's using specialized software to be able to do this. So it allows him to literally take out a layer of certain things to be able to show you just certain like clouds, and he literally can take out that like kind of regular cloud cover and show you the ship tracks, show you where they're spraying those chemtrails. Okay, he's also shown reports, he's also shown clips from the government having meetings related to that. He's also shown from the military, where the military has also done these like literally like news reports. You know how when there's a hurricane or something coming, and like maybe the governor and the mayor will get up there at the podium and they'll be telling you what's going on and where there's evacuations, what's going on with the storm. Okay, it was a meeting like that from and this was a Navy official though, explaining why they were spraying these things from the ships. The excuse they used for spraying them, though, was that they were trying to create cloud cover so that, like, let's say they had ships out in the water in some area, in some other country, and they didn't want that country's military to be able to see them, to be able to target them. That's what was the excuse that this woman gave that was a head in one of the military, for the reason why they were doing that. But really what they're doing is this is how they're manipulating weather. Oh, you don't believe me so far? Look, there are a couple of companies, at least a couple that I know of, that specialize in doing weather manipulation, where, let's say for example, there is a hurricane coming, there's a bad storm coming that's supposed to be really, really terrible. They offer, like, let's say it's coming to New Orleans. They'll go to New Orleans and they'll offer them to manipulate the weather to change that for them for like millions to billions of dollars. So they're doing it at a price. Hey, you're getting ready to get hit by this. This could wipe out your whole country or your whole island or whatever. For $1 billion, we'll manipulate the weather so that is not bad and that doesn't happen to you. Believe it or not. I mean, hey, you don't have to believe what I say, because they've got Facebook pages that explain what they do. There's clips. I mean, this information isn't exactly hidden. It's out there. They're not trying to hide it. Not anymore. And this has been going on for such a long time. Okay. So, the thing is, that's why this video is about it's time to wake up. There's still too many people. We're doing pretty good. The one thing that, now this time when I say the powers that be, I'm not talking about God, the universe. This time when I say the powers that be, I'm talking about governments. When I speak of the powers that be, the one thing they have not been able to do is basically stop us from awakening and stop us from then spiritually and metaphysically advancing and coming into our own. our own true power and our own true selves. They have not been able to stop that. However, we could be doing way better if more people were awakening to the truth that's in plain sight. When you want to hide something, where do you hide it? You hide it in plain sight, because that's the last place people look for it. You hide it in plain sight. It's time to wake up. Why I'm saying that is because many of you have already spiritually awakened or metaphysically awakened, but it's time to wake up even further than that. Because you may have gotten to the point where you're working on yourself, but it's time to fully wake up. You may be to the point where you've attained that peace in your life. You're living maybe more closely to your best life, but it's time to really wake up to what's going on out there. Now, you may not be, ready to take action and do anything about it, but the first step in anything is realizing the truth of something. It's like, what do they say, when it comes to addictions? The first step is admitting you have a problem. The first step is admitting the truth of what's going on, the truth of what's happening, the truth of the manipulation. There is so much going on out there right now, and you really need to be aware of it. Don't be afraid to listen to a video that's titled in a way where normally you wouldn't listen to it, that's kind of seems a little out there to you, or that seems a little bit conspiracy theorist to you. That's why I say Mike Morales' show is a great one to listen to. Don't watch it and let yourself be put in fear mode. There's really no reason for that, because if you're doing the best you can for yourself, right? You're trying to eat well, you're trying to look out for your health, then you're doing good. You're doing good. But there's some things you just need to be aware of. Strength comes from a group of people that are in a state of awareness, because those are the people that can best help them their own selves, is when they're aware of really what's going on around them and what the truth is. So really, it's time to awaken. I'm not saying that you need to understand these things and then start talking to all your friends about it, because they're going to look at you like you're crazy. Of course, they're going to be like, she's kind of weird. She's always talking about that weird, crazy stuff. So I'm not saying to, get out there and start talking about it. But if there is somebody that seems that they're open to it and willing to listen, I say, you don't have to tell them about it, but maybe just, tell them somebody they can listen to on YouTube, just like I told you, hey, go check out Mike Morales. Or I've told you about Spiritual Soul and told you how to find him using the hashtag Gazer. I love that guy. He is so awesome because he's just real. He's real, he's honest, he's straightforward. He's working towards something. And he's not afraid to talk about anything. So it is really time for us to really more fully awaken. What does that mean for you if I say more fully awaken? What do you think of? What does that mean for you? It could just be simply more fully awaken to like what you eat. Maybe making a change, like making that decision, you know what? I'm going to stop buying certain products, or I'm going to stop buying products with certain things in it. I'm going to be on the lookout for this thing that's in certain foods. Even if that's how you start, that's all you do, it's at least a start. Maybe it's going to be as simple as, you know what, I might end up having to buy less fruits and vegetables, but you know what, I'm going to start buying organic, or I'm going to start buying from certain places. Maybe I'm going to look to buy my fruit and vegetables instead for more closer to the farm, not the commercial farms. But hey, maybe I live not too far from a farm that sells from their farms. Maybe I can go buy eggs. There's a place that's like less than, I don't know, probably less than 10 minutes away from me where I can go buy fresh eggs. If you look on Craigslist, a lot of times you can find the small farms that are near you that are selling eggs. What can you do? Slight changes, but do something and be ready to be open to learning. Don't be afraid that it's going to scare you or you're not going to be able to sleep tonight because now you know this, now you know that, now you know they're trying to kill you. Look, the governments have been trying to kill off people for a long time. There's no sense in being afraid of it now. It's been going on for a long time. You just didn't know about it. But you're safer knowing about it than not knowing about it. What about your water? Do you still drink tap water? Do you drink bottled water? What is it? Is it spring water? Is it, where's that water come from? What can you do? You know what I mean? What can you do that's better? Maybe can you get a water filtration system? Or one of those pitchers, I forget what it's called, those pitchers that you put the water in that has a filtration in it. Even doing that, it helps. Anything you do helps. So anyway, I am glad that you let me talk to you about this. Because it was something with everything that's been going on. It really was something that I wanted to discuss, even if it's for the purpose of people being able to then comment, share what you think. What have you found out recently that was surprising to you? Or maybe it's something you've been knowing about that you don't think a lot of other people know about. Okay, we'll share that. What can you tell me? Put it in the comments. What can you tell me about what you've noticed is going on? No matter how either crazy or normal. I don't know. Some things, it's kind of hard to see them as normal, like what's going on with the Flint River in Michigan. They polluted it, but there's a car plant there that told them the water is corroding, I guess, some of the parts that they were using to build the cars. So they fixed the problem enough so the car builder wouldn't have a problem. However, they didn't solve the problem for the residents. So the residents are drinking the water still, if they're drinking it, and it's killing them. And many of you may not have heard that that's been going on. It's been going on for a while. And yes, it's well known. This isn't conspiracy theory stuff. It's right there in front of your face. It's being reported. It's being talked about. And it's being allowed to go on. Oh, I remember. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked. This is what I was going to explain about how the power companies tie into all of the whole weather modification thing. I'm not going to explain it as well as Mike Morales did, but bear with me. Okay, so when you pay your power bill, you pay your taxes, a part of that money is being used towards weather manipulation. So like literally there is control going on whether or not you're getting inundated with rain and getting like lots of flooding, or whether or not you're going through a drought. The power companies tie into this. And I'm just going to say this. Remember PG&E in California and the wildfire in, I can't remember the name of the town now, that burnt that whole town, and it was really bad. Last year? I think it was last year. But anyway, PG&E did claim responsibility for that fire starting, right? But this goes way, way deeper than that. Their level of responsibility and what they're involved in goes way deeper than that. So anyway, but please go to Mike Morales' channel and subscribe, just so that you'll get like the notifications when he does a live video. Even if you don't listen to the whole thing, listen to parts of it, because a little by little you'll learn. You'll be made more aware. So even if you're not going to listen right away, at least subscribe to it so you don't like lose track of it. So at least, you'll be able to find it later when you want to listen to it. Anyway, thank you for listening to me. Thank you for giving me your time. I really appreciate you. And I hope you have a good rest of your day. And I will talk to you soon. Namaste.